today we're looking at the life of Jesus, and we're looking at doing the right things in the right way. And part of the reason for this is I used to think that practice makes perfect, and then I had a piano teacher who told me that practice makes perfect only if you're practicing correctly, that you can actually practice things the wrong way and just perfect imperfection. And so we want to actually get things right. You know, Michael Jordan, when he was in college, he had a college coach that told him, you know, your shot could be better. Like your form, the way that you're shooting the ball is wrong. And Michael Jordan was like, what are you talking about? I'm a superstar. I mean, like he's going to, you know, skip college to go to the NBA. He's like well sought after, #1 draft pick. And his college coach said, yeah, you're amazing. You're really great, but you could be even better if you got your form correct. And so Michael Jordan, smart man, decided to redo his form to get the essential things right. When it comes to Jesus, getting the essential things right is absolutely imperative. And one of the things we need to get right is to understand who Jesus is. This is so imperative. And the scripture here is from Mark's Gospel, chapter 9. And this is a moment where Jesus takes 3 of the disciples up on the Mount of Transfiguration. We can read this moment together a little bit. It says, 6 days later, Jesus took Peter, James, and John and led them up a high mountain to be alone. And as the men watched, Jesus' appearance was transformed, and his clothes became dazzling white, far whiter than any earthly bleach could ever make them. This is not a Tide commercial, I promise you. What it is a reference to a prophecy that the disciples would have known about in Daniel, talking about when the Messiah was going to come, when the one who was going to save them, when the one who was going to restore them, when the promised one that was going to put all the wrong things right in the world was going to come. He would look like this. He would look like a man, a dazzling, the man in white. Again, if you're following in the scriptures, you can even go to the last book of the Bible. There's a guy named John who has this revelation of who Jesus is. And the revelation is so similar to this one. There's a man in white who's like glowing, who's so pure and holy and true and light-filled that his clothes even are bleached white. This is who Jesus is. He is the Messiah. He's the promised one. He comes from God. Is Jesus a prophet? Sure, he's a prophet, but he's so much more. Jesus is the Son of Man in the scriptures, a reference that is a reference to the Messiah, the one who's coming, who is God himself among us. And once we get that right, we can get so many other things right. But that is essential. Who do you think Jesus is? What I'd love for you to understand is that Jesus is God incarnate. He's light, he's purity, he's truth, and he loves you, and you can follow him. Let's get that right so we can do the right things in the right way.